The Atlanta Reign are looking to obviously reach their peak so far in this season. A lot of expectations, I think, for especially the Atlanta Reign fans. I mean, those guys, they can be rabid, you know, at the best of times, for you know, cheering for their team's success. And now finally we're seeing the Atlanta Reign reaching that kind of potential that's been promised. The Atlanta Reign, they can taste victory. They can taste it. It is so, so close.
Good shit. Oh my shit. Oh my god. Let's go. Oh, Jake, get over here. Oh my god.
For the June Joust qualifiers, we expected to roll Boston. We didn't think they were very good back then. But the shock match, we thought it would be a close map, close series, and ended up just being a stomp, which was surprising for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we expected was, I think at that time we was like really confident in our play. We knew we was gonna at least make it to Hawaii because I don't know, it was like a meta that really suited us, and to be honest, we expected like Shock was going to be a harder game, but I feel like, I don't know what's going on with that team, but it's like they should be playing at a way higher standard than they are. And maybe it's just because like the rest of the region is more competitive than it usually is, but I don't know, like, I don't know, we just rolled them. I don't know.
For the first match in Hawaii, there was obviously a lot of traveling. We weren't, we didn't go the first month, obviously, in the melee, so we didn't really know what to expect, how the traveling was going to work. Dallas figured it out. They booked their tickets in advance, they got their COVID tests in advance, so they all knew how to get there the most efficient way possible. But we kind of, not struggled, but like, it was a very tiring process, so everything kind of was a little scuffed the first time. So going into the match, we only had a couple of practices, and it didn't feel great. But NYXL wasn't the best team, so we were able to beat them, but we weren't very prepared.
That's the Ray form back as well out of this fight. They look like they want to recontest. Alan's coming back into this one. Okay, the self-destruct over the top. Hanbin doesn't get too much done, but at least it forces the positioning. And now Gator was susceptible, taken out. The sound barrier committed. Massa wants to try and keep his team in this one at any cost. The ultimate's committed. The fade forced out here. Fearless completely removing Iris from this fight. They're not going to have any healing, and that is going to be it. The Dallas Fuel. What an engagement. Sensing blood in the water. I don't know what the go button was for them, but that is going to secure them the map, and that is going to secure them the series 3-1.
Oh, they're probing all right. Fate in main. Here comes the swing. Spots the higher ground. A pile driver opportunity. It's definitely there. It's dicey for Iris. He has to fade away quite early. Leto Gon takes a ton of damage as well. This is about to devolve into a no-holds-barred brawl.
Oh, they got Gator.
Oh, it's Gator down. Pelican also falls foul of the sticky bombs. Flatter might be forced away for a time, but Hawk is going to follow him into the abyss. He's desuited, and the Dragons have come up with the goods. The Dragons will be the ones to take on the Fuel in our June Joust final.
Like, at that time I wasn't really playing because the meta didn't suit me, but from like an outsider perspective, I feel like a lot of people on the team I felt like they were tired, and you know, like it's hard, you know, because like we have to travel and stuff, and then we have to play at our best over 2 days, and it's like, you know, it's a lot. My opinion on it is like it's kind of a disadvantage for the NA teams because like we have to travel all the way there. Hawaii's like 6 hours behind, so it's going to be like a bunch of jet lag and everything, and like we don't play on our own setups or anything. So like I feel like it's a disadvantage for us, but then again like we get to go Hawaii, so like you know it's the team morale is definitely like could be higher than the APAC teams because, I don't know, we're just enjoying it, you know?
It does feel like Atlanta Reign's game plan was to take Decay out of the game as much as possible, free up Kai to have that big impact. And Assassin has stepped up somewhat, he definitely did on checkpoint B, but this A defense crumbled last time pretty quickly, all because of pressure on Mag.
And look at his pressure again, Pelican wastes no time. He went right over the approach and he's just jumped straight onto him. They bait out the fortify, they bait out the cooldowns, and they pounce on their prey. Decay up onto the high ground now. He's going to try and hit some heads to try and push them off. Otherwise, this is the series done and dusted. 20 seconds remaining, but it's not enough. Decay closer and Assassin all falling one after the other. And there will be no resistance. The point capped up. GG's in the chat. The Atlanta Reign taking the clean sweep of the 3-0. What a performance from them.
Prepare for the Washington match. A lot of the players have like really distinct playstyles. Like a lot of their team will just abandon Mag in a Rushmere. Like Fury will go for some eats that are really flashy, but sometimes Mag just gets off the dry. Assassin will just take some crazy off angles on Mei. So you kind of notice that from when you scrim them in the past in the Mei Melee rush meta. So you kind of were able to transfer that a little bit, but we were overall just like better the first week at the Rushmere against them, and throughout
Pelican's gone over to Mei. It's a desperate attempt to be able to make space for them, to be able to engage in. Dallas have control over all of this point. They are presumably going to be able to get the touch with Hawk, and there goes the Amp Matrix, but they need damage through it.
Here it is, potentially the last fight, the TP into the backline. Dallas have completely broken their ankles. Edison has already fallen. He's dropped away, and Iris going down means no more heals for Atlanta. This is not going their way in the slightest. The damage just being pumped out into Gator, but swinging away, he somehow finds Fearless, but it doesn't even matter. The Dallas Fuel win it out anyway. The Atlanta
I mean, versus Dallas is like, you have to think about how quick they play. They have like, they do a lot of aggressive plays, like all the time, pretty much every fight. And it's really hard to like check that aggression because like, I don't know, it's like they're all on the same page. So it feels like really oppressive when you're playing against them. It feels like sometimes you just can't do anything in game because, especially as a hit scan player, like playing hit scan versus them, like I just pretty much insta die. That just because I've literally no space because how aggressive they're playing. So just trying to check that aggression is like the main thing playing versus that team.
Honestly, we lost due to a lot of like individual mistakes. Like there's nothing else to it. Like there wasn't really a comp gap. It was just a mirror and just a lot of individual mistakes, a lot of like just mechanical errors that we shouldn't happen in a match like that. Obviously, when it's map 5, like both teams make those errors, but you don't want to go to map 5. You want to 3-0 the other team. You want to dominate the other team. So, yeah.
Go forward, and the mines onto the point stop them from pushing as well. And Pelican slept up, Dragon Strike across the point, splitting them up, but not going to be any kills going their way. Iris wants to return the favour now with the Amp Matrix onto the high ground though, and that is going to be pushing London away from this, but they have to step into the point. They have to contest it. It's only a single tick standing between them. So much damage being pumped into them. Big Bionade is going to catch down to the Atlanta Reign. An opportunity maybe for them, but the Blizzard laid down, they just can't play onto it. Only a couple of targets left standing, and as soon as they remove these fights, these players on the London Spitfire, it's going to be done and dusted. The soundbar from Kellex only catches onto the support line. It's desperation, and that is going to be BM, is what I was going to say. Look at them, just absolutely stalling it out. I can't believe what I am witnessing.
This is outrageous disrespect, and they've typed "it's not coming home" in the chat.
That is disgusting. That is
against
actually
London.
disgusting.
against London on King's
The
Row.
maps are definitely getting closer. Like, they are improving, which I like to see because I have friends on London. But yeah, it was a 3-0, and the BM at the end was maybe not necessary, but like, it was fun for the fans. I know some fans got mad about it, but you know, like, it makes the game more fun, more entertaining, so why not do it?
Going to the Boston match, we honestly didn't expect much. They don't really have a Tracer player. Like, their entire game plan is to pretty much win off Nano Blade, and if they don't win off that, they will instantly lose. Like, they don't have a Tracer player that hits Pulse Bombs. Pulse Bomb is the most overpowered ultimate in the game, so if you don't hit that, you're not winning games. And not much thought really went into it. Like, we just played our own comps, we just played our counter dive comps, and they just really didn't know what to do.
Deadeye not extremely impactful, but good enough to clear some space. Kai, unperturbed by the goo obscuring his vision. 937 will be looking for a pretty big pulse bomb. Ideally, it doesn't kill him. Milmon goes down to the self-destruct, though. The lack of mobility, and that's going to hurt the Uprising in more ways than one. Now Kai gets to wrap around the point, and so the book shuts on this one. The Boston Uprising looks so good coming into this match, but it's their last match of the Summer Showdown qualifiers. They drop the ball, and Atlanta, they make it a slam dunk.
The teamwork has definitely like grew over time. I felt like just at the start, like no one really like knew each other than like the players that have been there on the previous roster. Like Gator Hawk, they're like really good together. They've been playing together for a long time. So it was more like, it was like me, Pelican, that really like needed to like synergize with the team the most, and like DPS is like one of the biggest roles. So yeah, it like grew over time. I feel like everyone's like now like we're pretty like close to each other. We're all friends and stuff, so it really makes it easier in game.
So we were preparing for Glads. We kind of had like an internal debate like what Koth map to pick because we were higher seed, and it was very risky picking Lijiang into Glads because some days Mira will just take over the lobby on Doom. Prepare for the first map. I'm just kind of like talking with the team where everyone wants to start the first fight, because first fights of Koth pretty much give you a severe advantage. So I'm just trying to make sure everyone is on the same page, where to go, where to stand, what pathing we're taking, because that stuff wins maps, and just getting ahead 50% on the Koth meter just puts you at a severe advantage.
During this next fight, Muse has to land a big shadow. No TP though to get him in position. It's going to take a ton of poke damage on the way in. Have the Rain TP back to the point so they can work on the shield. Look at that Reinhardt shield. 783 out of 1600. Shadow, nope, interrupted. Unbelievable, the accretion. It was a shield bash, a big stun from Masa. And then Hawk finishes the job. Too much crowd control for Muse to handle. And now Hawk gets the waggle hands out and waits for the next order. Comes soon as Mira makes himself known. Muse is going to try and roll up onto the point. He'll get there, touch. But outside of that, pretty unconvincing stuff from the Gladiators, Matt. When they lose control of the point, it's for good.
Honestly, it's pretty good winning the Koth right now. It felt amazing winning that Koth because they got to pick the 2 CP, and we got dominated in scrims by them in 2 CP. They always seem to dominate us, and we're like, okay, fine, they can pick 2 CP. That meant we suck at a game mode against them anyway, so that pretty much put the entire series like favoring in our favor, because we were able to just guarantee the next map pick if we lost Koth to a King's Row map, which we would be favored on.
Edison remains on the Hanzo though, so spots out plenty of the Gladiators perched here in the back right. We'll have Pelican on the Echo as well. Muse tried to jump in the back here. Edison bypasses the shield, just wants to pressure the health pool of Muse. But a biotic grenade here from Shu really gives the Atlanta Rain pause for thought. Immortality build. Edison was inside of it for a moment. It expires. Muse is shield dancing like an absolute pro, but eventually he goes down.
And they're going to lose space mech as well. And this is why you come out with this Orisa base composition with big damage from the Hanzo and the Echo. You know, you have a Mercy pocket here too. You're just able to survive for so long that even losing the Mercy there, it's just enough damage to take out the tanks in the front line. So the Gladiator's going to find it a hard time to get in touch. Muse will get on, but you're going to lose Kepster right away.
Now, and Muse won't last much longer either, Matthew. The Reign have such a durable composition that once they get to where they need to be, they are almost impossible to shift.
Going to map 5, everyone always knows that Elaine's not good at map 5, but someone felt different because we were able to roll the first Koth map pretty easily. But they caught us off guard the first round, but just wiping us on Rushmere somehow, and that was a little concerning. Like we were like, oh wow, we just got 100'd by in the Rhinemere. Like damn. We played them in scrims previously, and they played the Pharah comp on Shrine, so we thought they might whip that out. They even played on Sanctum one time, but I didn't think they would whip it out in the match. But I was fairly confident they would play the Pharah comp on Shrine.
85% and counting. Final fight, Territory Blizzard on deck here for the Gladiators.
Kepster wants to freeze. Okay, he did have to freeze by the looks of things on space. Either way, he lets the Blizzard go, and the placement is absolutely perfect. Masa, well, can only really just call the
cap
here. Can't quite get the cap either, so won't be able to buy as much time as he would have otherwise liked. The Gladiators were there, and they're serious now, man. They're back on the Reinhardt, and they look a lot better.
In this next fight, you'll have an EMP coming up, and you'll have your mines. If you can win with that, maybe build up towards another nano, you're going to get another duplicate. Maybe this is winnable. Moth is hacked.
That's huge. What a big pickoff. Edison cleans up Birdring there. There wasn't going to be a Mercy to save him anyway. And this puts the Atlanta Reign now in a position to end this round. The mines on the point are annoying, but there's enough point to go around as the Reign set back up to try and secure this victory here, and they'll get it. It's going to Sanctum, baby, all the way here in map 5. So the Gladiators see that glory beckoning and like a piece of it themselves. It's going to be some Entremet from both teams. And Lucio here for Moth. Masa goes to the brick.
Yeah, well, because they're going to play the Orisa with the Sigma. So way more stationary here. So you're going to get Muse into the back line as he's just swinging away trying to live. And live he will as the Gladiators take it right to Atlanta, which is so odd. Like, look how good they looked on this comp now.
So after the second round, I started talking. I'm like, okay, we got shit on. Okay, my bad. We got rolled the first round, and we got rolled the first round the Rhinemere. So maybe we should just go double shield. They'll play Doom, and we'll just counter off spawn. We'll play the double shield rig, and we just ended up getting out tempoed, like mollywop, just insta wiped. I'm like, screw it, swap mirror. Hopefully we'll take a fight and we'll turn this around.
So the Atlanta Reign now fall further and further behind. Gator builds half an Earth Shatter in that last fight. But he needs a full one to really make his presence felt. Great pick from Pelican. He sees Birdring coming and takes his head off with an icicle. Now he can just freeze Muse and co. Remember, he cleaves with this endothermic blaster. Even Kepster trying to get into his face. There's going to be no deterrent. Oof, the Atlanta Reign, it was looking scary, but we're able to slow things down, and now they control the point.
Yeah, when we full swapped on the last point, it was like, I thought we just lost then, because we pretty much like reset everyone's ults. They had a huge ult advantage. Yeah, I was like very skeptical about it. I thought we just kind of threw it, like was panicking, but we clutched up in the end, which is good. So
both Symmetra walls up. It's just chaos. 90% is gonna have Innocent switch over to the Doomfist, as you're gonna have pretty much nothing here. Just Masa with a sound barrier, but he's got to watch out for the Shatter.
A desperate situation calls for a gambit from the Atlanta Reign. Edison takes up the Doomfist, and he gets rid of Birdring. Huge pick off to start the fight, but it's through in the Shatter. Edison and Gator hit the deck from Muse. Gator, though, still healthy. The sound barrier was perfect from Masa. So much so that his main tank was able to pick himself up and finish the job against Muse. The Reign are back in control, but now their margin of error is slim as it gets.
The Doom swap from Eddie was completely improvised. He just did, it was just like an emergency Doomfist swap. Like he's like, okay, we're getting back on Doom. And a lot of times in scrims, it does not work at all because we do not go in that hero usually. But we just decided to stack up and out-tempo them on the Doom with 2 fights in a row. Ended up catching them off guard, and I don't know, that's what happened.
You'll have beat. How about Blizzard? I mean, you're going to have some ultimates here for the Gladiators. It's just, do you have enough time and enough fights? As that's a huge one. No Blizzard. Edison gets rid of Moth though. He goes down, he was so close to a sound barrier here. It's still anyone's game. Iris has fallen, Edison has to go huge, and he gets you! He gets rid of the Batiste! That could be it! The shatter comes in here from Muse, but it doesn't look like it connects, and Master gets Ketster off the map. Here we go! Hawk with a sound barrier, he pushes in and space is too low. He's forced to self-destruct and try and get back into the mech. He can, but here's the Blizzard at long range. What timing from Pelican! He knew there was no Diva in the mech. He could throw it from any range and it would connect. Now, it's a winter wonderland for Atlanta on the board.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! Let's fucking go! Let's fucking go! Let's go! Let's fucking go! Let's go! Fucking do it!
Oh my god, bring it here, bring it here.
What the fuck was that clutch?
Oh my lord.
Holy shit.
I feel like most of the time, even after a loss, we're pretty confident. We like to be like really confident in game. But yeah, for sure, I feel like we're playing way better than like at the start of the season. Like it's like night and day. But yeah, I feel like we have like a really good chance of like really putting up like good numbers this season.
Confidence going to high is pretty high. Obviously you play Shanghai. I think Shanghai is probably one of the most dynamic teams in the entire league that could play almost every comp. Like Fuel's probably the most aggressive out-tempoing team in the league, but Shanghai is probably the jack of all trades team that can play almost everything, just based on their lineup and their play style. But we still have a couple tricks that we haven't whipped out because we haven't played against it yet, and hopefully we're able to whip them out and they work.